In the golden history of Islam, few names shine as brightly as Hazrat Umar ibn al-Khattab, known as al-Farooq, the one who distinguishes between right and wrong. His life is a remarkable story of transformation, leadership, justice, and unwavering faith. From being one of Islam's fiercest enemies to becoming its greatest champion, from a powerful warrior to a humble servant of his people, Umar's raw journey offers timeless lessons for humanity. Hazrat Umar was born in Mecca around 584 CE, 13 years after the Year of the Elephant, into the noble Banu Adi clan of the Quraysh tribe. His father, Khattab ibn Nufail, was known for his harsh temperament, while his mother, Hantama bint Hisham, came from a prestigious family. Unlike many Arabs of his time, young Umar received education and learned to read and write, which was rare in pre-Islamic Arabia. Growing up, Umar was known for his exceptional physical strength and towering personality. He was a skilled wrestler and fighter, often representing his tribe in contests. He also worked as a merchant and became well-versed in trade and commerce. His sharp intellect, commanding presence, and natural leadership abilities made him a respected figure in Meccan society even before Islam arrived. The Quraysh often appointed him as their ambassador to other tribes, a position of great honor that reflected their trust in his diplomatic skills and judgment. This early experience would later prove invaluable during his caliphate. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began preaching Islam in Mecca around 610 CE, Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, was among its most vocal and violent opponents. His opposition wasn't merely verbal. He actively persecuted Muslims and took pleasure in torturing those who had accepted Islam. His hatred for the new faith was so intense that he would physically assault Muslim converts, including his own slave, Lubaina, whom he would beat until he himself was exhausted. The growing strength of Islam deeply troubled him. He saw it as a threat to the traditions of his ancestors and the unity of the Quraysh. One day, filled with rage and determination, Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, decided to end Islam once and for all by killing Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself. He took his sword and set out with murderous intent. On his way to find the Prophet, peace be upon him, Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, encountered Nu'aym ibn Abdullah, who, trying to divert him, informed him that his own sister Fatima and brother-in-law Sa'id ibn Zayd had embraced Islam. Enraged by this news, Umar changed direction and headed to his sister's house. When he burst into their home, they were reciting verses from Surah Ta-Ha with Khabbab ibn al-Arat. Hearing Quranic recitation, Umar struck his sister, causing her to bleed. Seeing his sister's blood and her unwavering faith despite the pain moved something deep within him. Fatima courageously declared, "Yes, we are Muslims and believe in Allah and His Messenger, so do whatever you wish." Her words and steadfastness shook Umar's heart. He asked to see what they were reciting. His sister said he must first purify himself. After performing ablution, Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, read the verses. Ta-Ha, we have not sent down to you the Quran that you be distressed, but only as a reminder for those who fear Allah. These divine words penetrated his heart like nothing ever had. The man who came to kill was now desperate to believe. He immediately asked where he could find Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Upon learning the Prophet was at Dar al-Arqam, Umar went there directly. When the Muslims saw him approaching with his sword, they were terrified, but the Prophet welcomed him. "How long, O Umar?" the Prophet asked. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, declared his shahada right there, and the Muslims' cries of Allahu Akbar were so loud they could be heard throughout Mecca. This was in 616 CE, and Umar was approximately 27 years old. His conversion was so significant that the Prophet had prayed for it, saying, "O Allah, strengthen Islam with either Umar ibn al-Khattab or Amr ibn Hisham." Umar's conversion transformed him completely. The same passion and intensity he once used against Islam now fueled his devotion to it. He became one of the closest companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, participating in all major battles and events of early Islamic history. At the Battle of Badr in 624 CE, Umar fought valiantly, and it was he who counseled killing the war prisoners rather than accepting ransom, though the Prophet, peace be upon him, chose mercy. At Uhud, when many Muslims retreated in confusion, Umar stood firm beside the Prophet. At the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, though initially questioning the terms, he later recognized the wisdom in the Prophet's decision, and this treaty indeed proved to be a great victory. The Prophet, peace be upon him, held Umar in the highest regard. He said, "Among the nations before you, there were people who were inspired. If there is anyone among my nation, it is Umar." On another occasion, describing a dream, the Prophet said he saw himself in paradise where he encountered a palace and asked whose it was. When told it belonged to Umar, he wanted to enter but remembered Umar's sense of honor and refrained. When Abu Bakr R.A. was on his deathbed in 634 CE, he nominated Umar R.A. as his successor after consulting with senior companions. Though some initially worried about Umar's strict nature, Abu Bakr assured them that the responsibility of leadership would soften him, and indeed it did. Umar R.A. accepted the position with humility and trepidation. In his first address as Caliph, he said, "O people, I have been burdened with the Caliphate despite my unwillingness and lack of desire for it." He established the principle that leaders are accountable to their people, famously declaring, "If I deviate from the right path, correct me with your swords." Umar's Caliphate, lasting from 634 to 644 CE, marked a period of unprecedented expansion and administrative organization. The Islamic State grew from the Arabian Peninsula to include Syria, Egypt, Iraq, and Persia, becoming one of the largest empires of its time. Yet Umar R.A. never let power corrupt him. He established the first Islamic treasury, Bait al-Mal, and created the Diwan, a registry system to ensure proper distribution of stipends to Muslims. He organized the army into regular corps, established garrisons in conquered territories, and created a sophisticated postal system. He divided the empire into provinces, each with a governor, judge, and treasury officer, creating a system of checks and balances. Perhaps most remarkably, Umar R.A. established the Hijri calendar in 638 CE, standardizing the Islamic dating system that continues today. He also instituted the position of judge as separate from the governor, ensuring judicial independence. He built roads, canals, and rest houses for travelers. He organized police forces and prisons and established welfare programs for the poor, elderly, and disabled, creating history's first welfare state. Umar's justice became legendary. He would patrol the streets of Medina at night, checking on his people's needs. Once, he found a Bedouin woman whose children were crying from hunger. She had put stones in a pot of boiling water to deceive them into thinking food was cooking. Umar R.A. immediately went to the treasury, carried flour and ghee on his own shoulders despite being the caliph, cooked food for the family himself, and fed the children until they were satisfied. His accountability extended even to his governors. When complaints reached him about Amr ibn al-As, the governor of Egypt, and his son, Umar R.A. summoned them to Medina. The Egyptian Coptic Christian who was struck was given the right to strike back, with Umar declaring his famous words, "O Amr, since when have you enslaved people whose mothers gave birth to them free?" He held himself to even higher standards. Once he used state camels to transport his family's belongings during Hajj. When questioned, he calculated the cost and paid it back to the treasury. He wore patched clothes and slept on a mat that left marks on his body. When companions saw this and compared it to the luxuries of Byzantine and Persian rulers, Umar R.A. rebuked them, saying, Are you not satisfied that they have this world while we have the hereafter? Despite his stern reputation, Umar R.A. was deeply emotional and compassionate. He would weep during prayer, and the marks of his tears were permanently visible on his cheeks. He was married several times and had 13 children. He loved his family dearly, but never allowed personal relationships to influence his judgment in public affairs. He had an extraordinary memory and would quote pre-Islamic Arabic poetry extensively. He was known for his quick wit and wisdom in judgment. People would bring complex disputes to him, and his decisions became precedents in Islamic jurisprudence. His famous statement, "Consult them in the matter," established the principle of shura, consultation in Islamic governance. In November 644 CE, while leading the Fajr prayer in Masjid an-Nabawi, Umar R.A. was stabbed 6 times by Abu Lulu'a Fayruz, a Persian slave who held a personal grudge. Despite his severe wounds, Umar R.A. completed the prayer in sitting position and appointed Abd ar-Rahman ibn Auf to lead the prayers. For 3 days he lay dying. During this time, he appointed a council of 6 companions to choose his successor. He worried about his accountability before Allah and asked his son Abdullah to seek permission from Aisha R.A. for him to be buried beside the Prophet PBUH and Abu Bakr R.A. When permission was granted, Umar R.A. thanked Allah. He died on the 1st of Muharram, 24 AH 644 CE, at approximately 60 years of age. His funeral was attended by thousands, and he was buried in the chamber of Aisha R.A. beside his beloved Prophet PBUH and his dear friend Abu Bakr R.A. Hazrat Umar Farooq R.A. left an indelible mark on Islamic civilization and human history. His 10-year caliphate established principles of governance, justice, human rights, and administrative excellence that remain relevant 14 centuries later. He showed that true leadership is servanthood, that justice must be blind to status and wealth, and that power should be wielded with humility and fear of divine accountability. The transformation from Umar the enemy to Umar al-Faruq teaches us that no one is beyond redemption, that truth has the power to change hearts, and that past mistakes don't define our future potential. His life reminds us that faith demands action, that knowledge requires implementation, and that authority is a trust, not a privilege. Today, when we face questions of justice, leadership, and governance, the example of Hazrat Umar R.A. provides timeless guidance. His fear of Allah, his love for justice, his care for the weak, and his humility despite power make him a role model for all humanity, Muslim and non-Muslim alike. May Allah be pleased with him and grant us the ability to follow his noble example.